Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to start this presentation by introducing myself. My name is Chelsea Jones. I am so excited to be a part of this PhD program at Liberty and to get the opportunity to learn from each of you. Um, so, without further ado, let me share my screen and get into this week's discussion board. Um, so our topic of discussion is why the concept of Western civilization is relevant today. I really enjoyed all of the readings and the video that was put out by Liberty that was shared in our module this week. I think they were all so informative and um, anyways, I think this is a great topic. So I have just a side note about myself. I have five beautiful children, and my oldest child is 18, which put him being just a couple years old when the movie Cars came out. And whenever I saw this topic, I immediately thought of this quote: I don't have to know where I'm going, I just need to know where I've been. While it's a silly representation, I do think that it's profoundly relevant because if you seek to understand the possibilities of what's to come, you really, really need to understand what has already been. So, with first looking at our question of why it's still relevant to study Western civilization and how it got here, especially on the intellectual side, I think there's probably more areas in this, but three areas that I really wanted to focus on is cultural foundations. To understand the foundations of culture is at times important to look at through a lens that was shaped by Western intellectual history. Only then can one begin to truly understand where we've been and where we potentially could be headed. So foundationally, it's important. I also think that making sure that you have a good context of things that we typically say in the Western world, whatever that may mean, right? So historical context, gaining an understanding of Western civilization can provide additional insight into so many things, from how politics were shaped to art history and culture and scientific advancements and maybe even on deeper levels, our religious beliefs and things like that. So to understand the context, why things are said and how things are, why people feel the way that they feel. Um, and lastly, global influence. How did some portions of the world become so much more prominent and influential than others? Gaining a clear understanding of the history of Western culture can help to provide perspective in this area. So on the front of historical context, I thought that when I was reading this week's readings, the article by Beiser, there was this little excerpt. It says, when the Persian tyrant demanded that Leonidas and his men lay down their arms and surrender, the Spartan king replied, Molon Labe, that is, come and take them. Liberty, as the ancients understood it, did not mean what it may mean to some today, that every person may do what he or she likes unless it physically harms another person. Rather, freedom meant liberty from the control of a god king, as was common in the East. It makes the case as to why the concept of Western civilization is relevant today. I cannot tell you how many times living in the South in a deeply conservative area, you hear the terms come and take it. And I teach United States history for high school students and for some students in a junior college. And it's always overwhelming to me whenever they speak this term, but they have no historical context, like for where it came from. So I think having a greater context for why we feel the way we feel and where our foundational beliefs came from is so very important. Um, I also really enjoyed the video that was included of why to study Western civilization. That was by Liberty University. I enjoyed particularly in that part where the gentleman that was speaking talked about the difference just in terms of freedom versus liberty. He stated that freedom is rooted from Northern European Germanic, maybe saying that incorrectly, but basically it means neighbor. Um, and then liberty was more Greek, libertas, and the definition in that was the rights and duties that comes with freedom. And I think that's so extremely important to understand, especially whenever you go back to the idea of um, taking up arms and our amendment rights and things like that, that yes, we have those rights, but we also have a duty and responsibility with those rights. And I think so frequently people can get wrapped up in it's my right to do this and quickly forget the responsibility and the historical context that comes with that. So I think that's extremely important. Lastly, global influence. And perhaps one of the greatest reasons for understanding the concept of Western civilization is to help prevent falling into the traps that it can at times set for humanity. Culture, like religion and nation and race, provides a source of identity for contemporary human beings. And like all three, it can become a form of confinement, conceptual mistakes, underwriting. I just realized I spelled that word wrong. Underwriting moral ones. On the other hand, understanding that at the end of the day, we are all human makes, even if we have different cultures and beliefs, but still human, can make a huge difference. And whenever I was reading this and that the article by trying to remember, I had the site on my slide, I believe. Yes, by Anthony Appiah, I believe is how you would say that. I was reading this quote in that article, and um, it made such a clear picture that unfortunately we focus so much on imaginary boundary lines throughout our globe. And I realize we have different cultures and different foundations and different beliefs, but it's so important to remember at the end of the day that whether you're Western or Eastern or whatever, we're all human. And even bringing in like the faith aspect of it as believers, I myself am a Christian, and I truly believe that Jesus loves everybody that's on the globe. And just remembering that at the end of the day, whether you're different or alike, we're all still human. And I really enjoyed the quote at the end of that article by Appiah. It said, "I am human. I think nothing human alien to me." And that was by Terence the African. And I just found that profound. We so frequently look for all the different ways that we're different instead of how we're connected. And that is really my hope for this course, that I learn more about the ways that we are connected and how like intellectual thinking can stem way back from across the globe and across generations and hundreds of years and lead us all the way up into this land that we call America, and how it was created from all of these different thinkers and different cultures. And I'm really excited about that. So I really enjoyed this assignment, and I am excited for the next one. Y'all have a great day.